All right, here we are. Day after Thanksgiving. And back to the rehab, and gonna be my second lower body strength day. Well, I don't know about strength. It's gonna be something. It's gonna be low body something day. I don't know. Didn't have a lot of lingering effects from the last one, but I really didn't do anything real heavy. So I'll keep kind of doing what I was doing. Do the rehab, a lot of core activation, a little movement. Just see how it goes. Kind of stay away from the things that hurt a little too much, but try to get into things that make you feel a little uncomfortable. Just see if I can push the envelope a little bit. Not necessarily desensitize the area as much as I want to kind of push and get used to the feelings and get into those new or those old positions that now my body's guarding me from. So I'll do that, see how it goes, and then see how I feel over the next couple of days, and then keep going from there. Still waiting on my programming. I think it's being figured out, and yeah, excited, ready for it. Ready for somebody else to do the thinking part. I just get to doing the working part. Be a huge benefit for my bandwidth, at least as far as for throwing goes. On that note, just ordered an indoor shot. You'd think after all these years I'd already have one, but I don't. Really gonna focus on proving the stone, proving the open stone and brainmark stone. And gonna rig out somewhere I can throw in here, not damage the walls, not damage the shot. So I start getting reps inside, and overall better at that. So that should be here Friday, or today. Today is Friday. Should be here today, I think. You got some new lifting shoes from Velasa as well. Long time coming. My row do wins, or Pinlay do wins, that I've had since 2008. Finally time to retire those bad boys. Got in some Velasa straights. Good handmade shoes. They look cool. Hopefully they last me nearly 20 years like the old ones did. And that's it. So, watch me now.
Let's get your fucking toes actually on the ground. Socks off. 10 toes down to the ground right now.
Right now?
Right now. Think I finally figured out who I am with my style, but I'll keep my soul to the ground. Thinking up, up, up. Keep that ego in clown. Rather clown all out by myself right now. Big man, like my ship is all sound. Like no water on board, like I'm not about to drown. I'ma keep it all 100, man, I'm really freaking out. People listen in now, I'm not just talking to myself. Make me scared, I'm gonna let them all down right now.
Right now?
Right now, pray I never lose myself. Praying flashing city lights, I keep my pretty boy smile. Pray this all work out. I caught my mama house, so when I look inside her eyes, all that real shit was worthwhile. Pray my team break ground, so this album popping out. Swear drop 'em, be right there, say push baby, push. I think I finally figured it out. That's all that life's about. Think it's time to be present, like that shit a gift, like God in its essence. Swear to Jehovah, I'ma sell me a record. I'ma make me $1 till the collar too present. Bark, bark, woof, woof. Hardest word in your session. You just sit, boy. Inuyasha your breath. You's a bitch, boy. I think I'm fine with that sentence. I get mine. I'm so fine with the present. I ain't felt the past roll through my bones in a second, but I'm a conduit. Honestly, the hardest thing you spit live in my garbage pit, but I'm too self-involved to even go and start some shit. I'd rather moan about my problems, bitch. About this itch I gotta scratch. The past were gone like artifacts in scattered museum rooms. The future moves too quick to see a zoom. I'm not flying far from the places up in the clouds. I'm just sitting here on earth with my feet up on the ground. Think it's time we figured out. That's all that life's about.
Granted him of supreme command with the appropriate courage. Hitmen come in and machine.
All right, everything feels pretty good so far. Man, I don't know how to explain this whole thing. The things that, you know, getting out here being active don't hurt at all. The question is whether those activities are healing. Sitting or any sort of like lumbar flexion for longer periods of time really kind of get me just it's uncomfortable. It's discomfort. It's like 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 pain maybe, but nothing heavy, nothing bad. And so when I get in here and move around, I don't feel it a ton until I get under like a heavier load and simulate some of that lumbar flexion. But if I'm slow and deliberate and keep my lumbar spine, you know, in that neutral position like I want it to be, I don't feel anything bad. So working on making that better, I don't know, and activating the stuff around it. A lot of this stuff is, I feel like I'm just undoing some of the collateral effects of being in those uncomfortable positions when I'm at work and have to sit a lot. You know, like my hips kind of get gummed up, or especially my left side hip. That's where the issue is, in the left side. And so I feel like I'm just undoing a lot of that with these activation exercises. And then I don't know, the core activation stuff is just always good to do anyway. Something I've had in my training for a long period of time. So yeah, it's getting old thing really sucks. It's probably not even getting old, it's just whatever. Unfortunate side effect of sitting so much, or I don't know. Try to figure it out.
If I told you that some general jilted lover.
Okay, this was really dumb to set up by myself. Probably not something I'll do very often. Too much energy into the setup. The earthquake bar with the bands, or with the kettlebells suspended from the bands. Kind of with the idea of just really having to focus on that rock solid stabilization. So
Assassin is only in a position to do what he does, you know, to have proximity to Philip here, because it might have been one of the things that Philip threw at him as a way to mollify him. Or what happened with Adams? Listen, I know it's bad. Here, take these precious things. I'll make you a bodyguard, or I'll give you a backstage pass. Come right down on the theater stage with me. You know, when I'm giving all the gold prizes. You put the assassin in the position to do what he did. The Theodore's version of this is the one that turns this into a giant cinematic event. And I like the way historian Ian Worthington, in his book By the Spear, Philip II Alexander the Great, The Rise and Fall of the Macedonian Empire. I like the way he puts it into words and then intersperses Diodorus a little bit into his narrative.
It's obviously tough. Not heavy or anything. Just tough with that bounciness to it. So I don't know.
They were soon greeted by a
whatever
procession in which first appeared.
I'm not a fucking scientist. I don't know if this works.
And then a splendid of army and leadership that's rarely been equaled. You know, those two things sort of meeting in a perfect instrument, which is awesome if you happen to be on the same side as the perfect instrument. A lot less awesome if you're in the crosshairs of the instrument. I mean, what happens if you have endless ambition, natural limits to how far you go? Unstoppability is still in the future. That's what he says about his career. At this moment when he succeeds his just murdered father, he faces quote, great jealousies, terrible hatred, and danger everywhere. End quote. Can still be a bolt from the blue when an individual back to the 9/11 attacks. We're all affected by the 9/11 attacks. The minute stability is upset, we don't know what's going to happen. Generation 2 or 3, right? For 20 years.
Holy shit.
The third, right?
The amount of intra-abdominal pressure that I'm attempting to create when I'm doing these squats, just to make sure that I'm not getting any sort of flexion in the low back. It's quite exhausting. The weight's not heavy, it's 315. I'm probably still capable of high 500s, maybe 600-pound squat, I think at this point, but it's just the amount of intention that I currently have to put into making sure everything's braced is crazy. Because even the slightest little bit of flexion, I can feel that. Even walking out the weight, little twinges, you know, that little instability, being on one foot for a second. So really, I mean, and this is kind of how we should all be all the time anyway. If you want to talk about longevity and injury prevention, one of the things that you should be taking care of is core stability, particularly when you're trying to lift heavy. Not doing so can lead to just the weirdest little shift or pinch that could cause you some issues. I'm not some sort of rocket surgeon that can tell you exactly what's going on, but I understand that irritating a disc, which is kind of what I think I have going on, is from maybe even just the slightest of movement and the slightest bit of compression where you don't want it. And we can eliminate that just through being super braced in our squat. For my entire lifting career, I've squatted and deadlifted without a belt for the most part. I found that early on in my career, I didn't use a belt, and I kind of had this made up number in my head about when I would put a belt on, like what lifts that I needed to achieve before I would wear a belt. And so I had that number like, oh, I'm gonna squat 500 and deadlift 600 before I ever put on a belt. And so I did that. Then I bought a nice Inzer powerlifting belt, and lo and behold, it didn't help me any. It didn't improve my lifts any. It only made me uncomfortable. So I kind of built a rock solid core, a Konstantinov's core that made me a better lifter as a result. Now that a lot of that musculature has been deconditioned over the last several weeks of really just babying this little injury thing that I got going on, so gotta build it back up, and I gotta be a lot more intentional about it. But man, I feel like my face is exploding when I'm squatting now. All right, that being said, I am going to put on a belt for this one. Just as kind of like that baby steps graduating up in weight, and seeing how it feels. This is the most weight I've had on my back in several months, a couple months anyway. Really, in the grand scheme of things, not a lot of weight, man. This is not heavy. It's really the disappointing part of it. So, see, one thing I didn't talk about is that I wanted to bring up, point that I wanted to make was when I say intentional, every point of the squat is intentional. I also mean your unrack and your walkout. Don't just sloppily, haphazardly get under this bar in single leg support and pop it up and then kind of goofy step back. Like actually get under this bar.
One of those deals where in its ancient history where you just sort of have to piece together what you can. As we said, there could be different end results. In your movie, he killed him, or didn't decide he did. That's he did the first movie. And this is perhaps the first movie.
Unrack it as if it is 800 pounds, full intention, full core bracing, and then when you walk it back, it's under control.
To the time when he becomes acknowledged as king, because as we said,
no, it felt all right.
That is not a given here. nice teenager. Say, what's going on in town? Well, the party starts as soon as the news hits, as soon as the shock wave from the nuclear explosion hits. In Plutarch's Lives, when he's talking about the life of Demosthenes, he brings this moment up. And by the way, Plutarch is writing a book of sort of moral judgment. So,
all right, got a lot of cool equipment here at my gym, but unfortunately I do not have a leg extension. And one day we might, I can find a way to work it in, or we get a space that has a little bit more space. I don't want to sacrifice my runway that I have down here in order to get more larger machines. But in the meantime, we can still train those quads directly by use of a sissy squat. There's many variations. I think that you could do a sissy squat, but this is an easy one to set up, easy one to add load to if you feel like you need to add load, and an easy way to modify or at least even like regress the movement through use of some assistance from just your hands. So I set up band pegs in the rack just so I can put my hand on there. The idea would be ultimately to just kind of rest your hands there to support that upright posture. And then all you're doing is taking the knees to the ground. Keep your upright torso and then go forward. And this really hits the quads pretty good. Other ways you could advance this exercise besides weight is you could stand on blocks, and so that you have more of a range of motion. So you got to get those knees down all the way to the ground. That's one way. Like I said, you could regress it by just adding a little bit more help from your hands, or even rigging up some bands to kind of help pull you up a little bit. That was probably a little more difficult, a little more cumbersome setup. So I like these. Really addresses, I think, the quads, especially out here. It doesn't do a lot. It doesn't feel like for the lateral quads, but it does feel good at the knee. I say good relatively. It feels like it's getting work done right at the knee joint, which is great for, I think, for strengthening up the knee and hopefully lead to maybe even be more explosive. So give it a try.
probably to milk the whole female angle, but one later historian has Olympias dragging her rival wife and the newborn over glowing coals. Probably didn't happen that way. Elizabeth Carney thinks what's likely is what had happened. And another time period, as I believe we said, out of the 6 people buried in the Philip tomb compound, Olympias might have been responsible for 5 of their deaths. A later person is going to be a female who hangs herself. Elizabeth Carney thinks maybe the baby was killed, maybe in front of Cleopatra's eyes, and then Cleopatra was allowed to, with dignity, hang herself. Who knows? But Alexander the Empress will reproach his mother for
Yeah.
Virgin Maria.